Hi, welcome. My name is Angelina and today we are going to be reviewing the K-pop releases for the month of November, using of course my super fancy tier ranking system. And honestly, I was half impressed with November K-pop because for the most part I was just adding things left, right, and center to my playlist, though for some of them the next day I was like, I actually don't like most of these songs. So I did make a little bit of a change within one of the tiers, but I'll explain that shortly. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with friends you don't have. And as always, feel free to skip through this video to whichever segment you would like to by clicking on the time bar. You'll be able to see every individual song that I will be reviewing. And just like last month's review, I've taken the liberty of looking into, what types of songs these are, what the songs talk about, and so on. So I feel as though they're a little bit more detailed than my previous reviews. So let me know if you like that aspect. Okay, so the tier ranking. Of course, at the top we have Big Booty Bop, and we have Cup of Milk, which are songs that I added to my playlist, but maybe they have a shorter shelf life. I'm trying to remember my own tiers. Which is then followed by Second Gen Vibes. These are songs that if they randomly started playing, I wouldn't skip them. They're songs we casually like. From there we have our neutral tier, but for the sake of this month, is also the tier where I added stuff to my playlist, and then the next day I kind of decided I don't really like it anymore. I'm not a super fan of it anymore. This is kind of the opposite of a grower, so rather than growing to like it, I've grown to dislike them. I have stuck in my head like, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Do you ever feel like your brain cells are just dying? You can feel them dying very, very slowly. I digress. So right below that tier, we fittingly have Grow and Not a Shower, which are songs that I might have really disliked at first, but ended up loving them either through peer pressure or just sheer repetition. Then we have everyone's favorite tier, YG's Dungeon. These are songs where I would tangibly change something about them. And then of course, Not My Cup of Tea, which are songs that I just wouldn't listen to. So without further ado, let's get into this review. I have been thinking about ways to change my reviews or just make them a little more interesting or make them more interactive. I was thinking of adding kind of a voting system so you guys could in fact vote for which songs I review. So if you have any ideas, feel free to DM me on Instagram or even leave comments, because for the new year, I really want to spice things up. Okay, so we're gonna start off with Dreamnote's Ghost. This was a song that a lot of people were upset that I missed in my last review, so I thought we could catch up here. Just remember, if you really want me to review a song, you can always DM me. I'll never say no to a song. I remember once someone was like, does that mean you'll review Taylor Swift? Stay to the end of the video. Unless I've already fully edited the video, I have no issue with basically adding any type of song. Japanese releases, English releases, I'm not like too picky. I just don't love reviewing like special songs that aren't technical comebacks, if that makes sense. But anyways, Dreamnote's Ghost. So as I mentioned before, some people were really upset that I didn't include it, and someone even said that even though Horror Crush isn't usually what I'm drawn to, that they thought I might actually like this song, and I would say that was a pretty accurate assumption. It was really catchy and surprisingly a lot more upbeat than you would expect from a Horror Crush concept. And by Horror Crush, I'm talking about, let's say, something Dreamcatcher would release, something Pixie might release. I just like to personally call those concepts Horror Crush concepts because they're very dark, almost goth inspired, but they still somehow almost fit within mainstream K-pop, right? But I digress. I would personally add this song into Cup of Milk. I've really enjoyed it. I thought them singing the word howl while actually howling at the same time was pretty clever, though again, like the whispering sounds give me the heebie-jeebies, but I can get past that. I've read some people say that it gives them second gen boy group vibes, and this might come to a surprise to a lot of people. I was actually a second gen boy group stan. Like I really liked everything in second gen, but I was a boy group stan, okay? Especially Gen 2.5, I was on that shit. So for me personally, I wouldn't say I necessarily agree with that statement. And I mean, you guys know me, I'll always be the first to compare anything to second gen. Hi, my name's Angelina. And I'm annoying. But frankly, this feels like it fits perfectly within its own genre. But let me know what you think about that, because I couldn't personally name you a second gen boy group song that it reminded me of, honestly. Now, let us talk about the Boyz comeback with Maverick.
Maverick.
According to Sunmi, this is a hip-hop based track with an addicting bass sound and impactful rhythms. The members' powerful vocals are accentuated in the song, which convey the boys' determination to lay out their own path forward. Now, Maverick, and I did look this up, is a person who refuses to follow rules. And I think the song definitely mixes, again, those powerful elements as described, though I do think they played with softer elements as well to create a very interesting chorus. There's something about the second part of the chorus that feels very early 2000s to me, and I always try to pair it with a specific movie. And I don't know why, the first thought that came to mind to me was Charlie's Angels. I don't know, is there like slight Pink vibes? I know Pink was on the soundtrack for the second Charlie's Angels movie, but definitely let me know which movie you would picture this in. As for my ranking, I would personally put it into second gen vibes. If it started playing, I don't think I would skip it. Now we have Oneus' comeback with Luna. So from what I understand, this is a kind of continuation of their song Lit, and I remember reviewing this a couple of years ago, getting hella cancelled, but you know, I've changed. People legitimately thought that I thought that BTS invented Korean culture. But anyways, back to Luna. So Luna, similarly to Lit, fuses traditional Korean sounds with more modern sounds. So we have a synth pop bass. So we have a synth pop bass with a traditional flute mixed together. On my end, I really love that fusion. I think it's really lit. Wrong song. But seriously, I do think it's a really nice song. And I would say like it paints this picture of a night sky. If we could pair this song with a painting, it's definitely a night sky, very in line with the music video that they did. And I did download the song, so it definitely goes into Cup of Milk. And I was playing it in the car, and I think my mom liked it too. So if that means anything to anyone, she's really picky. She hates everything. Moving on to Emily May featuring Sorn and Amber Liu with My Domain. This collaboration is a funk pop track that embarks on an ambitious new frontier that combines both K-pop and anime influences, according to the email that I was BCC'd on. I've been told BBC is something else. And in this BCC'd email, you know, I keep telling you guys I get BCC'd on emails sometimes, like press release emails for these artists who come out with their new songs, and they offer like interviews. They're like, please let these artists are available for interviews if you're interested. And I'm always like, well, you know, surely this is not directed towards me, right? BCC is not, you know, dear Angelina, do you want to interview? But you guys keep telling me that no, BCC, you could interview these people. So I guess I'm just dodging interview opportunities left, right, and center. But let's move on. This single, which also marks Emily's music debut, is set to open a new story universe, which will see sequential music releases and the continuation of a thrilling storyline. So listening to the song, I can definitely hear and see the futuristic elements, the futuristic influences, shall we say, and of course, K-pop and anime. And I liked the concept of it all, particularly within the lyrics, you know, I don't need a king, I'm taking everything, this is my domain. Now, I didn't particularly love the rap parts. I thought the vocal parts shined a lot better. So I'm unsure if I would put it in YG's Dungeon or maybe second gen vibes. You know, see, this is why I don't take interviews. because then I'd have to put it in Big Booty Bop. My final thought is, as a nice medium, I think I'm gonna put this song in It Exists. So now we have a debut with Billie and their song Ring X Ring. So this is from their first EP, The Village of Perception, Chapter 1. Does anyone else, this is a random thought, okay? Does anyone remember when album names were fairly simple? You know, ATEEZ, can't name one album. Obviously I can name their albums, but you know, like they're very complicated to the point where it's a little hard to keep up with. For ATEEZ's first album, you know what I call it? Their first album, or Pirate King. And you know what? ATEEZ does the same thing. I'll have you know, there was a video of ATEEZ and they had to touch something and figure out what it was. And Wooyoung touched their album and he was like, oh, it's our first album, Pirate King. I was like, there's no way in hell he's gonna say it's our first album, Treasure, episode 1, Action, all 2, 0, 1, 2, all epilogue. I don't fucking know. Just a thought. I feel what happened to naming your album Oh? Anyways, I understand it's part of the lore. It was just a funny joke. Please don't come for me. So I started playing this song, and without even seeing the music video, I was assuming this was going to be a horror crush concept. Because even looking at the lyrics, this was more on the darker side. But then I was looking at the music video itself, and I felt like it was following more, you know, trendy K-pop styling. It didn't feel horror crush at all. And I will say, those trends are particularly, I would say, like from 2019 and previous. Picture, you know, Twice as Fancy or Everglow. I saw a lot of Everglow styling within this music video. So the red outfits in La Di Da, or even their Bombo Chocolat outfits. So it was kind of like a horror crush sound, but they didn't really conceptually go for that. With all that said, anyways, it wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, not something I think I would listen to, so I'm gonna put it in not my cup of tea. But as always, if this sounds like something you might be interested in, then definitely go check it out. Next up, we have B.I. and his comeback with Cosmos. So, as the title suggests, the song talks about wanting someone to live and breathe in your imagination like an intangible depth of the unknown galaxies, so you can love them forever. It's quite an upbeat song that describes feelings of love, and though I do think it's cute, and I appreciate his voice, it feels like it feels a little bit rough around the edges. It feels very raw, and I do appreciate his voice and his artistry. However, this is just not my cup of tea. Now we have another debut with the duo Lilli and Barcode. Now, from what I understand of this song, the use of the word barcode is meant to signify individuality. Like, show me your code, don't judge prematurely. And honestly, the first thing I noticed is that they had really nice vocals. That being said, again, it's not really something that I'm personally drawn to, but again, if it's something that looks interesting to you, then I definitely suggest you check it out. Moving on to IChillin and Fresh. So right off the bat, I felt as though Juni's voice sounded a bit like Ryujin's voice. I'll play a little bit of a snippet and you can let me know what you think of that. We don't care about it. And you know, granted, it did feel like it was going in a teen crush direction, similar to an Niziu concept, and the message was more or less having as much fun as you want and creating your own standards. However, I do think it strayed quite a bit away from that teen crush concept that I was expecting, and it was of course brighter and fresh, as depicted with the pastel colors within the music video. So it ended up being a lot more of a cuter concept than, say, a teen crush concept, though at first I thought the message would be like angsty teen crush. But similarly to the last few songs that we just reviewed, it's simply not my cup of tea. Oh boy, we need to brace ourselves because now we're moving on to Twice's Scientist. Scientist is to me what Eternal Sunshine is to me. You know, granted, that's probably a very bad analogy, but I feel as though I've painted the adequate picture for you. I'm making my own dungeon. Let's call it a hole, maybe. And I'm gonna shove this song in there with Eternal Sunshine and sticker. And if you have any terrible songs that were released this year that you want to add in there, there's plenty of room. And we can all just pretend that those releases don't exist. Listen, I didn't even watch the fan cams. Like, I love Twice. And Nayeon has actually become my bias. I used to be Sana biased. You know, the Feels fan cams gave me life, you know? Brought me into this world, gave me sustenance, but I couldn't even watch the Scientist fan cams. And I promise you, I tried to like this song. I tried to listen to it enough to change my own mind, because you know, that's possible. It wouldn't be the first time it's happened before. It's happened with Next Level, On the Ground, The Feels, but some songs are just too far gone for me. And you know what? The song is described as being written by a bunch of hit makers. I read the description on Sunmi, but maybe they Need a license. That was bad. Just thinking of this song throws me off my game. I'm sorry, but this song definitely goes into not my cup of tea. Let's talk about Eric Nam's Any Other Way. This is a very dreamy song that talks about being blinded by love. And overall, it's just very chill and mellow. I did quite enjoy it, and fun fact, there's a horse in the music video. I mean, I guess that's not really... I mean, it's a fact. Maybe not a fun fact, but it's definitely majestic as fuck. The song feels very, like, mid-2000s to me. I want to say it reminds me a little bit of Glenn Morrison's Goodbye, but without the heartbreak. You know, you don't get those bittersweet vibes because the song's very much a song about love. For me personally, I'm going to put this into second gen vibes. I don't think I would skip it. Now let's talk about T-ara's Tiki Taka. So I know a lot of second gen stans are really excited for this song. You know, T-ara's finally having a comeback. Or have they had I really don't know what they've been up to. Either fans are excited because it's T-ara and they're just excited that they're having a comeback and they've had comebacks before this recently, or they're happy because it's been a while. I have not kept up, I'll be honest. Either way, I definitely hear the second gen influences in this song. This is terribly melodramatic. It's very dark. It does feel very 2010. Again, mid-2000s. Especially the lyrics, why am I the only one hurting? I've heard that in 100 different songs. In fact, let's name some off the top of my head. 21 It Hurts. Why am I the only one hurting tonight? Sister 19's My Boy. Only my heart hurts. And honestly, you could find that lyric anywhere else. I want to say Gina's I Can Move On. What's this? That title is so long, I'm trying to think of it. It's very clear what kind of concept they were going for, and I think they definitely nailed it. I'm feeling After School's Because of You, Rainbow's To Me, Co-ed Schools, Too Late. However, personally, my critique of the song is that the transition from the pre-chorus to the chorus just was not done very smoothly. Like, particularly the tika taka, it just doesn't sound good, in my opinion. It sounds very much out of place, in my opinion, but the rest of the song has the right idea going. So personally, I'm gonna go ahead and put this into YG's Dungeon. Now we get to talk about Weki Meki's Siesta. Weki Meki, that's how you say it. Weki Meki. That's how you say it, right? Now we have Weki Meki and Siesta. Weki Meki. Now, according to Sunmi again, Siesta is a pop genre track with elements of electronic and deep house, with the title meaning nap in Spanish. It describes how the long wait will make Weki Meki rise higher, just like a nap can give you the energy you need to complete your day. So the lyrics basically say, "You're my nap," which I'm interpreting as "you give me energy," which is really cool. Like, if we just base it specifically on the title and the concept of naps, I think the structure of the song perfectly depicts that. Because we do start off the song super soft and dreamy, as if to wake you up calmly from a nap before we get to the chorus where it's like boom, fireworks. Since I added this to my playlist, it definitely goes into Cup of Milk, and the vocals are just stunning in this one. Let's now move on to Monsta X and Rush Hour. As some of you might know, I'm a Mon Bébé by proxy, which means that I stan Monsta X for the sake of a friend. You know, I'm not like down that rabbit hole personally, but I keep up because that's what friends do. Do I want to stan? I think eventually I might, because I am is my bias. But you know, I'll admit I have been listening to some Monsta X title tracks recently in preparation for a road trip with my boy group stan friend. I know. Keep her in your thoughts. Rush Hour starts off in a sandy landscape with a very soft whistling sound before a member I.M tells us to eat something. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing, but from there it definitely gets a lot more intense. Contrary to the title, the song is not about traffic, but there are many references to cars. pedal to the metal, rush it to the finish, even mentions the speed limit that you should follow. There's one lyric that I did want to bring up, and I didn't really quite get it because it says the rich are getting greedy, just us. I'm not sure if IM is saying he's greedy because he's rich or if it is a comment on the upper class. Either way, my skepticism would require to see his tax returns to ultimately give my final thoughts. I did want to point out the get down part really reminded me of BAP's Warrior when Zello is playing Puppet Master and says get down, get down. Get down. Ho. Get down. Ho. Ho. Get down. For me, I would say I casually like this song, so I'm going to put it into second gen vibes. Moving on to SF9 and their comeback with Trauma. You'll become a trauma inside my mind. I actually learned recently that SF9 stans hate me. I was just, randomly scrolling through like 1,000 hate comments on a TikTok about me. Everything, the most random thing, they're like, I'm part of the SF9 fandom and we hate her because of her Kingdom reviews. And I was like, what? Like, that was so random to me. Like, I had no idea. Now I do. And you know what? If there's one thing that I got a lot of from my Kingdom reviews, it's trauma. Okay. I'll see myself out. Now, according to Sunmi, Trauma has a retro funk and soul groove and deep bass sounds, with the lyrics portraying the way SF9 will escape from their trauma and move forward in a new direction. We see how they talk about the fire of their love has burned out, but they still want it. And we're playing with the idea of rewriting destiny, and we can see them saying, you're my trauma, and then, later on saying, well, you're not my trauma. I do think the song has a lot of potential. I did think the word trauma was repeated quite a bit, but I have to admit it was very catchy. And on top of that, I have to say it was very clever to, switch between the word trauma and drama. So as a nice medium, I think I'm going to put the song in It Exists. Moving on to Onewe and Star. First of all, stunning vocals. Second of all, definitely soundtrack material. Again, I want to pair this with a specific K-drama, but I can't really think of one. So again, let me know in the comments what K-drama you would pair this with. This song is also universe themed as well, with the idea of chasing constellations to reach someone, following stars, remembering someone in the night sky, finding someone in this universe like a coincidence. I thought it was quite cute. I'm gonna go ahead and put it into second gen vibes. I will say I think Onewe is on my radar. I've been casually liking their songs, so I'm definitely going to keep my eyes peeled. Next up, we have Gaho's Right Now. This majestic and inspirational song, from what I understand, talks about being lost but just going for it, to leave everything behind and let's run away right now. As a first-time listener of one of his songs, I think this was the right song to do it. I feel like his voice was showcased in a variety of ways. We got to hear a more sweet side while also a more powerful side. We also have like that more high-pitched sound in the chorus. I think it was a very beautiful range. And I actually thought that his voice was very reminiscent of the lead singer of Mariana's Trench. Let me know if you can hear it. Either way, this was a song that I originally added to my playlist, but then I kind of changed my mind a little bit. I think it's a little too emotion specific. Like, I would like to listen to it, but maybe just not like every single day, multiple times a day. So I'm gonna put it in It Exists. Now let's talk about Yongguk's Race. So the first thing I have to say is obviously nothing new. No one's going to be surprised about this. He has a very unique voice. It's a very deep, interesting voice. I also really appreciate the rock sound mixed with like the early 2000s slight emo vibes as well. And I will say the pre-chorus almost sounds like it's going to turn into Kang Daniel's Paranoia. I'll play them side by side. I don't think they're really that similar at all, but just like, you get that feeling sometimes. However, there's just something about this song that I can't quite get into, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it into It Exists. Moving on to Hwasa's I'm a B. This is part of her second single album, Guilty Pleasure, and it features a play on words. So the word light in Korean sounds like the word bitch in English, which was also famously featured as a killing point in Jennie's song Solo. If you really wanted to interpret it as bitch I'm solo, you could, or it's shining solo. Anyways, according to Sunmi, this has a heavy bass and trendy sounds that represent Hwasa's inner side, which shines like a light. So it kind of has a double meaning because it plays into the fact that it sounds like the word bitch, but it really means light. It also has an addicting hook, and Hwasa's groovy voice will have listeners coming back again and again. So I do agree it was quite groovy, though the styling definitely played around more with early 2000s. I honestly really liked the music video. It was very interesting. This music video also featured traditional Korean elements as well. But this is another song that I added to my playlist thinking, you know, oh my god, it's so amazing right now. And then the next day I just wasn't feeling it the most, so I'm gonna put it into It Exists, our middle category again. That is also songs that ungrew on me. Next up, we have Ed Sheeran, Jessi, and Sunmi with their song Shivers.
I love it when you do it like that. When you're closer, give me the shivers.
So I believe Shivers already existed, right? Like Ed Sheeran released a song called Shivers, and this must be the remix, right? I'm not gonna lie, I thought I would hate this because I'm not a huge fan of Ed Sheeran, but as soon as the song started playing, I was like, okay, this is really good. And honestly, good on Ed Sheeran for getting both Jessi and Sunmi on this song, because I feel like they both have very, very unique voices. Because I feel as though they both have very unique voices that just add so much to this song. As Warner Music Korea said, not only did they create a flawless harmony, but they also worked hard to show a new and different kind of charm. So I do agree on them creating a really nice harmony. It didn't sound like a typical song where you just have these random artists added onto it. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you can just really tell that it just doesn't fit together, you know? But this wasn't the case. I feel like, again, like they said, all their voices sounded really good together. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in Big Booty Bop, shamelessly. There's just something about this song, and when you know, you know. How would I describe this song? I feel like if there was like a modern version of Hairspray, this would be one of the songs on it. I feel like you could dance those 60s dances to this. I don't know enough about that time period, but I just pictured that. And I just want to dance and sing to this at the top of my lungs. It's such a nice feel-good song, and I love it. I definitely recommend it. Big Booty Bop. When a song is Big Booty Bop to me, it's because I downloaded that song and I played it over and over and over and over again for like an hour straight. And then for the following consequent days, I did the same. I also know it's Big Booty Bop when I copy the link to the song and send it to like the first 5 people in my Instagram DMs. I'm like, have you heard this? I think you should listen to this. Now let's take a look at Chopstick by Niziu.
Like a chopstick,
I pronounced it Niziu at first, and someone was like, oh, it's pronounced Niziu, and they explained it very nicely. Then I pronounced it Niziu, and they're like, it's pronounced Niziu. I believe it's pronounced Niziu. I believed the first person who told me, don't come at me. Niziu makes sense. Just understand the amount of pressure I'm under when so many sources are telling me how it's pronounced. You know, it's written phonetically in Korean as well. I'll just go with that. So this comes from their first full-length album titled You, and it samples the famous Chopsticks, which is a waltz for piano by Euphemia Allen in 1877. So I'm sure you've all heard this before. What I read about this piece and what makes it interesting is that it makes use of like vertical finger placements. So you can play the piano like this. But anyways, Niziu have taken this sample to create this song that talks about life not making sense without the person you love in it. Like a minute hand without an hour hand on the clock. It doesn't make sense. It's useless. Or like a chopstick that you can't pick up. The message of the song was honestly quite cute. They were just naming a bunch of things that don't make sense alone or just don't make sense at all to paint a picture of what it's like to live without that person. What it's like to live without you. The name of their album. Anyways. So I believe you can hear the sample throughout the song, and I feel like it adds like this element of uneasiness, right? It's a little bit unnerving, and I don't really know officially how I feel about this song. I do think it's cute, but at the same time, I'm not sure if I would listen to it. So for now, I'm just gonna put it in It Exists. Last but not least, we have Stray Kids and Christmas Eve. Oh.
Jingle, jingle, jingle all the way. You got me spinning, dingle, dingle, dingle.
So of course we have a nice little play on words with the word Eve and evil. From the teasers, I could tell it would be a lot of fun, full of mischief. This song actually made it onto my playlist, so I'm gonna give it Cup of Milk. I mean, it's the perfect anti-Christmas song. In fact, the lyrics are incredibly relatable. But more notably, like the lyrics are just so hyper specific towards the cold weather. And I wanted to highlight that for a second. You know, they talk about how the snow isn't romantic because the cars basically turn it into mud. How their pant legs are wet. How they used to long for something special to happen around this time, but now they wish for nothing to happen at all. And I think people really romanticize snow and cold weather, but it's really not that great. And I love how this is exemplified in this song. I'm living for the slander. And of course it does overall sound incredibly cool. I never thought I would willingly listen to anything that has jingle jingle in the lyrics. Also, did anyone catch the You Kiss Bingle Bingle reference? Okay, so maybe that's a little bit of a stretch. Don't want to get into a scandal with everyone thinking that I think U-Kiss invented the Korean language, but I digress. I used to actually hate that U-Kiss song, and Christmas Evil is actually making me feel like I have a new lease on them. So maybe this really is a Christmas miracle. Then of course, rhyming Feliz Navidad with Felix Never Bad was genius. Overall, I think they did a really amazing job with this holiday / anti-Christmas release. So now that we are done with the review portion of this video, we're now finally going to move on to my playlist. So every single month I make a playlist of everything I listen to, whether or not it was released this month. So I did something interesting. Oh my god. Give me a minute. So I switched to Apple Music and it is the worst decision I've ever made in my fucking life. So the one thing I will say is that the audio quality is so much better, surprise, surprise, but Apple Music sucks ass. I just tried to make a playlist because it didn't create a playlist. I spent an hour making another playlist called Room Room. It didn't add any of the songs. I was so mad. I added like 130 songs. None of them showed up on the playlist. I'm so mad right now. I just tried to add songs to my November playlist because they weren't adding. I added them to the wrong Anyways, needless to say, I will be switching back to Spotify, but I thought because Spotify Unwrapped doesn't count your songs from October 31st to December 31st, I'll try Apple Music to see how it is. I hate my life. So let's get into the playlist. So of course we have Icons by Hot Issue. I love this song from the first listen, and this is the second time it's appearing on my playlist. Let's take a minute to talk about Taylor Swift. I was playing this in the car. My mom was getting so annoyed she doesn't like Taylor Swift. She's like, what is this, a 10-minute song? I was like, ah, it is. I caved into the whole TikTok. I caved into TikTok. I kept hearing this version and I kept hearing about this, so I decided to finally look into it. And now see, what the fuck is that? Then we have, of course, Gasolina by Daddy Yankee. What can I say? This is just a very iconic song. Luna by Oneus. Siesta by Weki Meki. La Modelo featuring Cardi B. This is an Ozuna song. What was it? I was thinking about models. I don't know what happened. Ghost by Dreamnote. Amor Prohibido by Selena. Got me through the beginning of this month. I was super, super sad about IUD insertions. Please let me know if I'm the only one who's like on TikTok. Everything is like, I keep getting recommended these IUD insertion videos and I can't handle it. This song is just so beautiful. It's so upbeat, and just the way she says te quiero, like it's like screaming it. It's amazing. I kept watching her performance at Astrodome, you know, with the iconic purple sparkly outfit. Every single day I would watch it, like Bidi Bidi Bom Bom. And of course, they have Bidi Bidi Bom Bom. When I was really younger, I used to watch the movie Selena, the 1997 movie, every single day. I would drive my mom crazy. This isn't the 1993 version. Heavy by Peach BRC. She was like teasing this all over TikTok. and the lyrics go, they say they won't run away. Fix you is only pretty when it's sung by Coldplay. She titled this like the BPD anthem, and it's just so beautiful. I would recommend this song if you haven't heard it before. I find often her lyrics are very relatable, and yeah. Siren by CL. I'll admit, I think I said, did I say Tired Cherry was my favorite Alpha release? I'm still going through the album. I don't know why I said that. The lyrics that really stood out to me from this is, don't you dare walk away from me. I know you got something to say to me. You know, sometimes we're really prone to leaving things left unsaid. Rosario featuring CL and Zico. This is an epic high song. This is a really, was this released? Was this released this year? Because if so, it's definitely Song of the Year contender. Bomb EDM Remix by Alexa. This was just really upbeat and really fun to listen to. Ahora Dice featuring Cardi B. This song, okay, when I went back to Apple Music, I was looking through, I guess, songs that I used to listen to like a few years ago when I had Apple Music, and this was one of them, and I was like, oh my god, this song creeps back into my life every few years and I remember it. This is the Cardi B version. I like the Cardi B version. I also re-added Take Me Home by ATEEZ. And I guess that's it. Thank you so much for making it this far into the video. If you did so without skipping, it means a lot to me. So leave a snowflake emoji because it's fucking snowing. And Kevin is not happy. A huge thank you to my channel members for supporting this channel on a monthly basis. These are the lovely individuals who do so. You can too by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button. Don't forget, you can always send me a DM over on my Instagram if you would like to suggest songs for me to review. As for me, I'm gonna get going, but I will see you guys next time. Bye!